Namaste everyone. Welcome to fourth lecture of business activities. Now in this lecture we are going to see types of aids to trade. Aids to trade refers to those activities which facilitate buying and selling of goods and services. So all those activities which facilitate buying and selling of goods and services, all those activities are called aids to trade. The main aids to trade are as follows. First is transportation. Transportation refers to conveyance of goods and passengers from one place to another. Transportation is what? Conveyance of goods and passengers, that is movement of goods and passengers from one place to another. It facilitates trade by assembling and distributing goods. It overcomes the barrier of distance and creates place utility. Transport widens the market and help to equalize prices at different places. It widens the market means it can supply the product to far distance places and help in equalizing the prices by making available goods in all the market. It results in equitable distribution of goods among far-flung areas. So with the help of transportation only, there is equitable means equal distribution of goods and services in different parts. Goods are produced at a few places but are needed at all places. For example, tea is grown in Assam and Darjeeling but is used throughout the country. Various means of transport help to bridge this distance. This distance gap between producer and consumer. So transportation helps to bridge this gap. Quick and economical means of transport such as railway, roadway, airway and shipping have widened the scope for trade to include international transactions. Second activity is warehousing. Nowadays goods are produced in anticipation of demand. So goods are produced in anticipation means in the hope that in future there will be demand what I am producing today. So it is therefore necessary to store the goods until they are sold. Many products such as wheat, sugar, rice, etc. are produced in a particular season, but they are needed throughout the year. Proper storage arrangements must be made in order to make the goods available throughout the year. Besides, it is necessary to store commodities such as woolen garments and umbrellas to meet the desired season demand. Warehousing removes the hindrance of time and thereby creates time utility. It helps to stabilize prices. Warehouses are three types, namely private, public and bonded. Private warehouses are owned by merchants and producers for their own storage needs. Public warehouses are owned by warefingers, port trust, etc. and bonded warehouses are set up by customs authorities to store goods which are liable to custom duty. Third activity or third service is banking. There is usually a time gap between production, purchase and sale of the goods. During this period, businessmen need fund to carry on their businesses. Banks and other financial institutions provide required credit in various forms. Banks also facilitate business activities by providing safe and quick means for the remittance of money. Banking removes the hindrance of raising finance and credit on one's own. So banking system, it provide the money required by businessmen because when they produce there is a good amount of gap between production, purchase and sales. So The need of businessman was provided by banking, this financial need. Fourth is insurance. Business involves several types of risk. Insurance removes this hindrance of risk. With the help of insurance, a businessman can protect himself from several types of risk. Insurance is based on pooling of risk. A large number of people who are subjected to a particular risk contribute to a common fund, out of which compensation is paid to those few who actually suffer the loss. There are various types of insurance, example fire insurance, marine insurance, workmen's compensation insurance, life insurance, etc. So insurance company, what they are doing, they are collecting small amount from different persons. So for example, there are 1,000 businessmen, so all 1,000 businessmen, they will contribute a small amount, and risk or theft or risk of fire is not with all the 1,000 businessmen. It may happen that 2-3 businessmen suffer from this risk. So in that case, insurance company, what it collect from 1,000 businessmen, okay, it provide the amount which a businessman lost because of fire to that particular businessman. So by this, the purpose of risk, okay, the purpose that there may be a big amount of loss, a good amount of loss will be solved. Okay, the problem, I will say the problem of this risk is minimized with the help of this insurance company. So all the businessmen, they are contributing a small amount, so there is no big loss to the businessmen, and it actually helps to that businessman for whom there is actual loss of fire or some theft because of this fire or theft. Advertising and publicity informs the consumer about the availability of various product and services. They remove the hindrance of knowledge. Okay, so this advertising provides the knowledge to consumer. The main purpose of advertising is to create and sustain demand. So because of advertisement, there is a demand in the market. In the absence of advertising, consumer may remain ignorant of the availability of goods and services, and businessmen may not be able to sell their product. So if there is no advertisement for any particular product, so there is a chance that consumer will not know that this kind of product is also in the market, and he will not going to buy that. So there is loss to businessman that he has produced something but he is not able to sell to the consumer. So this hindrance is removed with advertising. There are various forms of advertising and publicity, such as press, outdoor display, radio, television, letters to consumer, fair, exhibition, cinema, etc. Packaging means designing and producing suitable packages for different products. Packaging means putting goods in wrappers, containers, etc. Packaging helps to protect the goods from damage during transport and warehousing. It also makes the goods attractive. Packing helps in the conveyance and handling of goods. It removes the hindrance of risk by keeping goods safe and free from spoilage. Trade and transport of goods have become easier and safer due to improvement in the art of method of packaging. So because of this packaging, it looks attractive, it what we can say that it protect it from any kind of damage, it creates quality, okay, it maintains quality. So packaging is again an activity which is aid to trade, we can say. So these are different aids to trade. 6 aids to trade we have seen. One is transportation, warehousing, banking, insurance, advertising and packaging. Now enter relationship between trade, commerce and industry. So what is the relation between this trade, commerce and industry? We have seen what is trade, we have seen commerce and we have seen industry. Now trade is an integral part of commerce, that also we have seen that trade is nothing but it is a part of commerce. Okay, commerce is a big term, it involves various activities. In those activities, one activity is trade. So trade, industry and commerce are element of business. Trade implies buying and selling of goods and services in order to earn profit. So trade is simply mean buying and selling of the goods. Trade refers to sale, transfer of or exchange, and it is a part of commerce. Commerce consists of trade and auxiliaries to trade or services which facilitate trade. Industry is concerned with the production of goods. So trade, commerce and industry are closely related to each other. Each of these components of business depend upon the other for realization of its objectives. Industry produces goods which are distributed by commerce. No commercial activity is possible in the absence of industry. At the same time, industrial production is meaningless without the distribution of goods through commerce. If industry is the backbone of commerce, commerce serves as the lifeline of industry. Trade provides the necessary support to industry and maintain a smooth flow of commerce. Trade and commerce provide support to industry by maintaining a smooth flow of goods from producer to consumer. So this trade and commerce, they are providing facility, okay, for smooth flow of the product which industry has manufactured to the consumer. Trade is nucleus of commerce as all the commercial activities revolve around the sale or exchange. So nucleus means it is the center. Trade is the center part of commercial activities. Trade provides the solid foundation upon which the superstructure of commerce is built. Thus, there is high degree of interdependence between industry, commerce and trade. So industry, commerce and trade, they are interlinked. Despite this interdependence, there are following point of difference between the trade, commerce and industry. So we have seen how they are interrelated with each other. Now see how they are different from each other. Industry create form utility by molding resource into useful product. So industry, what it is doing, it is creating form utility, that is it is changing the form of raw material which it is using. For example, cotton is converted into cloth. This is happen in industry. On the other hand, trade create exchange utility by providing a link between producer and consumer. Now trade, what it is doing, it is providing a exchange utility. That means it is exchanging that cloth from manufacturer to consumer. And commerce create time, place and possession utility through storage, transportation, insurance, etc. And commerce is creating many more type of utilities like time utility by storing, place utility by transporting it, possession utility by actually handing it in the hands of consumer. Trade depend upon industry and there can be no trade without industry. Yes, if industry is not producing anything, then what you will sell? So trade, it depends on industry. At the same time, industry cannot function without trade and commerce. So all these three are dependent on each other. Trade depend largely upon auxiliary services like transportation, warehouse, insurance, advertising, etc. So all these similarities and differences and interdependencies on each other can be understood with the help of these points, that is comparison between industry, commerce and trade. So meaning it is better that we memorize this chart, okay, this chart, that is comparison between industry, commerce and trade. So first is meaning industry, extraction, reproduction, processing and construction of useful product is industry. Commerce, activities concerned with distribution of product to consumer, this is commerce. And trade, it is buying and selling of goods and services, that's it, that is trade. Scope, for industries, it consists of all activities concerned with production of commodities. So in industry, all activities related with production is involved. Commerce, it comprises trade and auxiliaries to trade. So here in commerce, trading and all the related activities are involved. And in trade, it consists only the activities of purchase and selling, buying and selling we can say. Capital, capital means money. Generally, large capital required for large scale industries. So big industries, big money required for them. For commerce, comparatively less capital is required. And trade, capital required to keep stock. So here in trade, we have to use money to create stock. Okay, to create stock means you go for to a shop, there he has already created a stock of some items. Like if you go for say stationery shop, so all the books, what he has done, he has first purchased from somewhere, na? So for that he requires some capital. Risk, in industry greater degree of risk is involved, in commerce comparatively less risk is involved, and in trade comparatively less risk here also involved, because less item is here, less money is involved here, so less risk is here. Nature of utility, industry create a form utility, commerce create a time and place utility, and trade create a possession utility. Trade create a possession utility, because here actual selling to the consumer happens. So actually the product reaches in the hands of consumer, so it creates the possession utility. Classification to industries are classified as genetic industry, extractive industry, manufacturing industry, and construction industry. Here commerce is classified as trade and auxiliary, and here trade is classified as home trade and foreign trade. Beginning of utility. So in industries, beginning before commence of trade. In commerce, begins after industry, and in trade it begins after commerce. And ownership and control. So industrialists have complete ownership and control. In commerce, merchant have control, and in trading, traders have control. Now let us see the final topic, which is distinction between organization, firm and company. So organization, the term organization refers to a group of persons who have common objective. The member of organization work in cooperation to achieve the common objective. So organization is what? It is a group of persons who have a common objective. The total work is divided among the members who communicate with one another. There is central authority which prescribes rule and regulations and regulates the activities of the group. According to James D. Mooney, organization is the form of every human association for the attainment of a common purpose. There are two types of relationship among the members of organization, horizontal and vertical. Horizontal relationship refers to relationship between people working at the same level. So if you go in an organization, so there are workers at one level. So all the workers, they represent horizontal relationship. For example, here there is a horizontal relationship among heads of department. So if there are different departments in an organization, then all the heads of different departments, they form one horizontal relationship. Vertical relationship refers to superior subordinate relationship. For example, there is a vertical relationship between head of marketing department and branch manager. Vertical relationship from the top to bottom of organization constitute the chain of command through which authority, responsibility and communication flow both downward and upward. An organization is a human group deliberately formed or designed to achieve a specific goal. The activities of an organization are coordinated rationally through assignment of duties and responsibilities. Size, complexity, formalities, hierarchy and lifespan are the main characteristics of organization. An organization draws input from an environment, transforms them in some manner and then deposits its output back into the environment. The input consists of energy, information, raw material, capital, manpower, etc. The output comprises goods and services, waste material, profit, taxes, etc. Company. The term company means an association of many persons who contribute money or money's worth to a common stock and employ it for some common purpose. The common stock so contributed is denoted in money and is called capital of the company. So company, when few people come together and contribute their money for some common purpose, then it is called as company. The person who contribute it or whom it belong are the members. The proportion of capital to which each member is entitled in his share. Share are generally transferable. So share means the amount which I have contributed, for that amount I have some share in the company. Okay, some part of the company is mine and that part I can transfer to anyone else. Company is a legal term because it is created by law. It is in artificial, invisible and intangible. It exists irrespective of the person who established it. It has a separate legal entity independent of its members. So each company has its separate independent existence. The liability of member is generally limited to the face value of his share. A company is managed by board of directors. Directors are entitled elected representatives of the members. Every formal group of person with the common objective can be treated as an organization. Every formal group of person with common objective can be treated as organization. On the other hand, a firm is an individual or a group of person who carry on some business. A school, a college, a university, a hospital, a club, a charitable or religious trust are all organizations. But none of these can be called a firm because no business is carried on by them. So here school is not doing any business. Okay, so they are an organization, but we cannot call them firm. A firm can be a sole proprietorship, partnership or a company. Proprietorship is owned and controlled by one person. Two or more persons own and control a partnership. Both proprietorship and partnerships are non-legal entities and have no existence separate from their members. But a company is a legal entity and has an independent existence distinct from its member. Okay, so about this organization, company and firm, when time permit, we will discuss them again. Okay, so I think it need to be discussed again, so we will discuss this topic again. Now here we have a question bank. So answer is also given, so it is better that you go, you see these questions and their answers and learn them. There is a short summary. Okay, this summary also you must go through. Then there are few short and long questions. You go through all these questions and try to write answer by yourself. Okay, if there is any doubt, okay, you can ask me. Okay, you can discuss those doubts with me. I hope you understand all the topics. Yes, so I stop here. Thank you.